Live from Citizen TV, this is Friday Night with Lillian Mooney.
Good evening. Many thanks for joining us tonight, and happy Jamhuri Day to you. It's been a day full of intrigues right from the Nyayo National Stadium. We'll be telling you details around Jamhuri Day and what it entailed. And indeed, wherever you're watching us from, a happy Jamhuri Day once again.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Ndungu. I'll be giving you the sports news a little bit later on. We've got some Kenya Premier League action and some motorsports to get into, so that should be good. And I see we're almost twinning.
Yeah, we're almost twinning, but this is black, that's blue, but
exactly.
Pure coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. Next time I'll wear the black one.
All right. Let's take a look at stories making headlines tonight.
It is time to step up from the bottom up, charging forward, full steam to economic freedom and taking Kenya to a first world economy.
I will change Kenya. President Ruto presses on with his first world promise as the nation marks 62 years of independence.
Mumesema ipatiwe jina la Raila Amolo Odinga International Stadium. Nimewasikiza na tukikamilisha tutafanya hivyo.
A posthumous tribute. President Ruto directs that Talanta Sports Stadium be renamed in honor of the late ODM leader Raila Odinga. Amefika kwa umaridadi kabisa. Akiacha sauti nyuma. A supersonic boom rocks Nairobi West. Kenya Air Force Freedom jet fly past leaves trail of damage.
Hii system utapata vizuri. Hata mimi mwenyewe naeleza sitapata vizuri.
Inaonekana kuwa kuna changamoto kali zaidi kwa sababu wazazi hawajielewi wala hawajui.
Confusion galore, parents in a panic over too many E's on their children's KJSEA results. Thanks for joining us. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Liz Odhiambo. Friday night starts now, and President William Ruto has reiterated his ambitious 5 trillion shilling first world dream for Kenya, saying time has come for the country to move from the bottom-up model to an economic freedom premised on 3-day enablers of strategic human capital development, patriotism and peace. The head of state, who led the nation in marking the 62nd Jamhuri Day celebrations here in Nairobi, said his plan, which he has dubbed the National Economic Freedom Project, is unstoppable. Emmanuel Tor reports.
He picked up from where he left 2 weeks ago when he addressed Parliament during his State of the Nation address, rallying Kenyans to support his ambitious plan to transform Kenya from third world to first world status. President William Ruto, who presided over the 62nd Jamhuri Day, announcing that his 10-year roadmap will be anchored on 3 national priorities of transport, irrigation and energy.
In February 2026, just in 3 months from now, we will begin extending the standard gauge railway from Naivasha to Kisumu and Malaba.
The president revealing 3 key enablers built on national stability, which he says are central to creating the conducive environment for takeoff to the first world.
These 3 enablers, strategic human capital, peace, stability and security, and national interest and integrity, are not optional ideals. For no nation can prosper in an atmosphere of disruption, violence, and criminality.
We will push under your leadership for a country where all its citizens do not just enjoy the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media, but they also enjoy freedom from hunger, freedom from sickness, and freedom from all the dangers that threaten human survival.
President Ruto announcing plans to actualize some of the measures to raise the over 5 trillion shillings required to turbocharge the program.
On Monday, the Cabinet will meet to consider and approve the architecture of the National Infrastructure Fund.
And in rallying support, President Ruto called on Kenyans to stand by him, terming the project a national collective responsibility.
It is time to step up from the bottom up, charging forward full steam to economic freedom and taking Kenya to a first world economy.
The president's plan is set to cost the taxpayer a whopping 5 trillion shillings over the next 10 years. His 62nd Jamhuri Day celebration speech here at the Nyayo National Stadium was full of hope, dream and aspirations to transform Kenya into the first world level, with the president now announcing plans and measures that will be taken early next year to ensure that dream becomes reality. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV at the Nyayo National Stadium, Nairobi.
And in his Jamhuri Day speech, President William Ruto detailed his ambitious plan to decongest traffic in the capital city. He announced the construction of an expressway on Thika Road and expounded on plans to dual the circuit linking the Bomas, Ongata Rongai, Kiserian Road and the Bomas, Karen, Ngong Road. In what he styled as a Christmas present, President Ruto also touted the rehabilitation of the roads that shoulder the expressway from JKIA to the ABC junction on Waiyaki Way. Olive Barrows traces out the roadmap.
As part of his grand economic freedom project, President Ruto on Friday built upon his plan to leverage transport and logistics to propel Kenya into the future. With Nairobi hosting the commemoration of Kenya's liberation from colonial rule, it was its turn to hear what goodies the president came bearing, as characterizes his development tours across the country. Roads are usually a staple, and the president did not disappoint.
Tunajenga zile barabara ambazo zilikuwa zimekwama hapa Nairobi. Tumerudisha contractors wote ambao walikuwa pale barabarani. Na sasa barabara zinaendelea kilomita 60 hapa Nairobi.
On that list, Muhuri and Mamawahu roads in Dagoretti South, Mihango Link Bypass in Embakasi East, Umoja 1 SDA Road in Embakasi West, Road C in Embakasi South, and the Ndigwa Road in Roysambu.
Pia mumeona pale Valley Road, ile barabara ilikuwa imekwama pale, tumeleta contractor anaendelea na kazi. Ile barabara ya Ngong Road pia inaendelea. Barabara ya Haile Selassie vile inaendelea.
But much more significantly, the president announced plans to construct a Thika Road expressway beginning next year.
Mwaka ujao vile tuko na expressway kutoka JKIA, pia tutajenga expressway kutoka Thika mpaka ifike hapa Museum Hill.
As highlighted in his State of the Nation address 3 weeks ago, President William Ruto also mapped out plans to dual the Bomas Karen Ngong and Bomas Ongata Rongai Kiserian circuit as part of the comprehensive network of 2,500 highways for dualing and 28,000 kilometers of roads he plans to have tarmacked in the next 10 years.
Wananchi wengi wanaishi Kiserian, wanaishi Rongai, wanaishi Ngong, na kuna msongamano mkubwa sana wa wananchi wakikuja asubuhi na kurudi nyumbani jioni. Ningependa kutangaza ya kwamba mwaka ujao ile barabara kutoka Bomas of Kenya kwenda Rongai kwenda mpaka Kiserian, na barabara kutoka Bomas of Kenya kwenda Karen kwenda pale Shade Hotel, kuteremka kwenda Ngong, kwenda Bulbul na kwenda mpaka ifike kule Kiserian, tutaifanya iwe dual carriageway.
But before the year ends, President Ruto gave notice that works will begin on the roads that shoulder another president's legacy project.
Kuanzia hii Disemba mukienda Krismasi, tutajenga upya barabara kutoka kule JKIA kupitia hapa mpaka kule ABC na tuifanyie beautification ndio Nairobi ionekane kama city ya taifa letu la Kenya.
Olive Burrows, Citizen TV.
The brand new Talanta Stadium, which is still under construction, is set to be renamed the Raila Amolo Odinga International Stadium upon its completion. The new development came after President William Ruto approved the renaming of the country's newest international sports facility from Talanta to Raila Amolo Odinga Stadium in memory of the legacy of the former premier. Seth Olale reports.
The proposal to rename the brand new Talanta Stadium to Raila Amolo Odinga International Stadium was made by Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja during the 62nd Jamhuri Day celebrations at the Nyayo Stadium, Nairobi County.
Uwanja huo uite Raila Odinga International Stadium ili kumkumbuka baba wetu ambaye alituacha.
The party chairs and the secretary generals to join in.
Responding to Sakaja's remarks, President William Ruto started by leading the masses into eulogizing the former Prime Minister by observing a minute of silence in honor of the fallen legend.
Tafadhali na waomba tusimame kwa dakika moja kwa heshima ya kiongozi wetu Raila Amolo Odinga.
The head of state picking the cue from Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja.
Amempatia Mariga. McDonald Mariga na mpira na shoot. Lakini goalkeeper Mama Anne Waiguru amenasa mpira bila wasiwasi.
Voicing his approving for the proposal to rename the iconic Talanta Stadium to Raila Amolo Odinga International Stadium amidst cheers from the crowd.
Mumesema ipatiwe jina la Raila Amolo Odinga International Stadium. Nimewasikiza na tukikamilisha tutafanya hivyo.
Nilisikia mtukufu rais kama naongea mambo na stadia. Nimekubali. Tena nimekubali. Ni ukweli na tena nimefurahi akikumbuka hiyo.
Raila Amolo Odinga is a hero. Na is a hero si ya Wajaluo, si ya Wakenya. Dunia mzima, East and Central.
In eulogizing the late Raila, Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama, who was a special guest at the celebrations, acknowledged the sacrifice and commitment from the former premier in advocating for human rights and good governance. It was on 17th October at this specific venue where Kenyans turned up in large numbers to pay their tributes to their fallen hero, the former Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, through a state funeral. It is also at this particular venue where President William Ruto led Kenyans in eulogizing and celebrating the achievements of the fallen legend. Seth Olale, Citizen TV at the Nyayo National Stadium, Nairobi County.
Still on Jamhuri Day, panic erupted at Nyayo Stadium today when a military jet thundered dangerously low over the crowd, startling President William Ruto and other dignitaries. Windows shattered, walls cracked, and thousands of shillings in damages were reported in the nearby Nairobi West. Residents are demanding government compensation, saying the jet flew lower than ever before, causing destruction never seen during past flyovers, as Willie Lusige reports.
Military Military jets and choppers have long wowed crowds during national celebrations, showcasing the Defence Force's skill and readiness to defend the skies. But Friday's Jamhuri Day flyover was somewhat unusual as the Northrop F-5 Tiger II fighter jet roared over the packed stadium. The celebrations took a frightening turn. President Ruto and other dignitaries instinctively flinched, sensing danger despite having seen such before. The jet wreaked havoc along its flight path, especially in Nairobi West area. Windows were shattered, residents fled in panic, and homes were damaged.
Imagine out of the blue, you just hear some big noise and some maybe like a blast when glasses break suddenly out of the blue. So far I don't think there's no damages regarding health-wise injuries or anything, but it costs people a lot to repair the glasses and so on.
Residents insist this was unusual. The low height of the plane caused damage and reportedly sparked fear among those of frail condition.
We want people to consider the safety procedures. I think this damage was caused because the jets flew lower than expected. They're supposed to be flying, I don't know.
Now residents are demanding safety guarantees and compensation to prevent future incidents.
We hope our government considers the damages and compensates us for what happened. People were frightened instead of them being happy and celebrating today as a public holiday. There's safety procedures regarding the jets passing by, making sure no one is harmed. It's a day for celebration. It's not a day for people being sad or any injuries. We don't know, maybe some injuries might be fatal, People might mourn regarding that matter. We want it to be a really celebration day.
With a lot of effects in buildings near Nyayo Stadium, the residents of this area are calling on the government to find a way to compensate them after a number of buildings were damaged. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi West.
Right, and Kenyans marked the 62nd Jamhuri Day with celebrations in the counties that also highlighted pressing local challenges and calls for reforms. In Narok, Samburu, Wajir, Mandera, Makueni, Kwale, and Nyeri counties, issues of drought, drug abuse, gender-based violence, and water shortage were highlighted as pressing concerns in the regions. Marianne Nyambura has the details.
In Makueni County, gender-based violence and drought were highlighted as key concerns. In Samburu County, Governor Lati Lelelit directed county assembly members to revisit laws limiting the water budget to 30 million shillings.
To recall the assembly so that we can set aside money to buy the people of Makueni food. Hatutajenga madarasa, mabarabara, watu wakikufa.
Kwa hiyo maneno ya matatu hata nyinyi wananchi. Mimi nasikia kuna watu wako na bills town itafika mpaka mbinguni. Nao ndio wanateta kwenda kuna maji.
In the northern counties of Mandera and Wajir, the worsening drought situation dominated the day's speeches. Mandera Governor Mohamed Halif warned that the situation has reached alarming levels, with pastoralists losing their livestock. While his Wajir counterpart, Ahmed Abdullahi, reaffirmed the commitment of county governments to strengthen devolution.
We are now planning to designate grazing zones to ensure sufficient water tracking for our livestock. Our team have observed movement of pastoralism immigrating from Kuchulo, Shimper Fatuma, Mandera North to Mandera West and Banessa and even beyond.
We believe a lot more can be done by the current regime. We support it. We support the president. We buy into his vision.
In Narok County, celebrations at Nkorinkori JSS saw County Commissioner Kipkoech Lotiatia urge the Maasai community to shun gender-based violence.
Kila Mkenya ako na right, awe kike au mume, na ni hatia sheria kuvunja wewe kudhulumu ama kumpiga.
In Nyeri, County Commissioner Josephat Biwott put chiefs and their assistants on notice over the resurgence of drug use.
Vijana wetu tutakuwa na shida. Reason moja hao wanajinyonga ni kwa sababu ya hii dawa na hii mambo ya pombe.
In Nakuru, Kwale, Bungoma, Kakamega and Kajiado counties. Concerns about human-wildlife conflict, road construction, politics and gold mining activities were the talk of the day.
Tumekubaliana na serikali kuu ya kwamba wale ambao wanamiliki ardhi pale Bushangala, Isulu na maeneo yote ambayo yako na dhahabu watapewa compensation yao bila kusurutishwa.
So I am asking the people of Nakuru County, let us stay focused, let us do the development without politics.
Kwale ikaanza kubadilika. Leo hii ndani ya hii Mwavumo, ukitemea takriban karibu kila boma, utapata mtoto ambaye ameweza kusomeshwa na serikali gatuzi ya Kwale.
Tharaka Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki wants the national government to enter into partnerships with counties that border national parks in a deal akin to those with Kajiado and Narok counties.
Ndovu akitoka Meru National Park huwa hakuli mimea ama kuumiza watu wa area ingine isipokuwa watu wa Tharaka Nithi na wa Meru saa ingine. Kweli? So if there are people who deserve to have partnership ya hii park ni watu wa Tharaka Nithi County na hiyo Kenya Wildlife Service ama tourism.
Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Away from Jamhuri Day, a day after the Ministry of Education released the inaugural Kenya Junior School Education Assessment results, confusion is mounting among parents and candidates nationwide over the new bizarre grading system. The new competency-based education grading structure, which is built on an 8-level performance scale, has left many parents and candidates struggling to interpret what the scores actually mean and how they will impact the upcoming placement to senior school. And as Emily Chebet reports, the many E's on the results are causing more confusion.
At Kari Comprehensive School in Kisii County, dozens of parents who are accompanied by their children who sat the Pioneer Grade 9 assessment have turned up at school despite being a holiday, seeking clarity on the results they just received. It is the first cohort under the competency-based education to receive this new style of grading, and for many families, the shift is proving difficult to understand amid little or no sensitization.
Hii system watapata vizuri. Hata mimi mwenyewe nilio naeleza sijapata vizuri. Sasa vile tuko na walimu hapa watatuelezea hiyo utajua vizuri hiyo inamaliza nini.
According to my grades and my rankings, arts and sports has the highest ranking, but I chose STEM, so I'm pleading to the government to assist me because I'm interested in STEM, but I excelled in arts and sports.
For the first time, the Ministry of Education has moved away from the familiar letter grades from A, which traditionally signified exceptional performance, down to E. But what is confusing parents is that under the new system, the top performance level is labeled EE, meaning exceeding expectation, while the lowest level BE signals below expectation. Parents say without proper sensitization, interpreting the results has become a big challenge.
Kweli niliangalia matokeo ya mtoto nikaona EE na imekuwa terminologies ambazo inatukanganisha kidogo kwa vile sisi tumezoea points.
When the child tells us that she has exceeded expectations, at times we get a challenge, we get confused, we don't know what she has achieved because there are no points, there is no grading system, no positioning.
Your exceeding expectations, meeting expectation. Yeah, ni ngumu kuelewa, but through their guidance, how wanafunzi wanasoma, yeah, you can be able to understand more about their grading.
Under the new grading system, each subject is graded out of a maximum of 8 points, and with 9 learning areas assessed, learners can earn up to 72 points. Adding to the confusion is a split of each grade into 1 or 2 score, which parents do not seem to understand the meaning. Some misinterpret that EE level could be referring to the traditional E grade. But instead of the familiar letter grades, the results are presented through 4 performance levels: exceeding expectation, meeting expectation, approaching expectation, and below expectation. The top performance band exceeding expectations awards 8 points for scores between 90 and 100%. The next band, exceeding expectations, gives 7 points to learners scoring 75 to 89%. Meeting expectations 1 covers scores from 58 to 74%. While meeting expectations 2 applies to learners scoring 41 to 57%. The third band, approaching expectations 1 covers scores between 31 and 40%. Approaching expectations 2 applies to learners scoring 21 to 30%. The lower band, below expectations 1, runs from 11 to 20%, and the minimal band, below expectations 2, captures scores between 1 and 10%.
Parents have come and we are addressing their concerns. At least we have been taken through the trainings as teachers, and we want to thank our education officials for having trained as well. So as parents come, we are addressing their concerns, and I can say that we are meeting their satisfaction. And of course, where we are not very clear, then we are also consulting our education office.
Inaonekana kuwa kuna changamoto kali zaidi kwa sababu wazazi hawajielewi wala hawajui. Ndiposa sasa tungependa kuarifu wazazi ambao hawajui waweza kuwasili shuleni ili wakuwe sensitized, ndio wajue hao watoto wanafaa kwenda kufanya nini. Ndiposa ikifika wakati sasa kabla ya kufanya uamuzi iwe mzazi amekuwa ameelezwa.
According to the Ministry of Education, learners will have an opportunity to review both assigned pathways and schools after placement, which will be based on their performance. The placement exercise is expected to be completed by next week. But the big question remains, when will parents be sensitized on this new grading system? Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.
We're taking a very short break and we're back with much more in just a bit. Stay with Friday Night.
Kukula ni shida. Presha imenishika. Tangu aange. Eric namuonanga kila siku ndio unajua nimeshika simu yake.
Not yet Uhuru. Families of Gen Zs killed during protests raised their cry for justice as Kenya marks 62 years of independence. Welcome back. Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has once again defended the multi-billion shillings Kenya-US Health Cooperation Framework following a High Court decision suspending its implementation. Duale says the deal is lawful, tightly safeguarded, and designed to strengthen Kenya's health system without compromising citizens' data. As Crispin Otieno reports, Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Sharif has also criticized those who went to court, saying their actions risk taking Kenya back to the 1960s.
A day after High Court Judge Bahati Mwamuye suspended the implementation of 208 billion shillings Kenya-US Health Cooperation Framework, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale now says government is ready to submit all relevant documents on the controversial deal, documents that were not available when the court issued the halt. In a statement to Newsroom on Friday, Duale says, quote, "We fully recognize and respect the crucial role of courts in interpreting the law and safeguarding the rights of Kenyans. We note that the current conservatory orders are specific to the sharing of data and do not suspend the broader partnership." End quote. The letter further reads in part, "We believe the court will affirm that all legal due process were followed and that the agreement are fully compliant with the Constitution and the laws of Kenya." The new framework channels US resources directly into Kenya's national health systems, including Social Health Authority, Digital Health Authority, KEMSA, and the National Public Health Institute. This marks a major shift from donor-led programs to locally managed investments. Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir also praised the health deal, criticizing those taking legal action against its implementation, even as the country continues to face challenges in the health sector.
This notion of everything that we do, lazima kipingwe. Sasa wewe utapata faida gani hawa community health promoters wasipolipa? Utapata faida gani hawa vijana wasipopata ajira? Utapata faida gani mji wetu ukiwa ni mchafu?
Abdul Swamad stressed the importance of maintaining strong diplomatic ties with countries like the US, highlighting the benefits for Kenya's health and development sectors.
Don't take us back. It takes a lot for a country to be able to develop diplomatic relations with another country.
Crispin Otieno, Citizen TV.
And now to a major development in regional diplomacy across the Horn of Africa. The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, has confirmed that Eritrea has formally notified the bloc of its decision to withdraw from the organization. The announcement comes just 2 years after Eritrea rejoined IGAD following nearly 2 decades of self-suspension. Now, the regional body says it regrets the move and is urging Eritrea to reconsider. Let's take a look at the details. So IGAD confirms receiving an official note from Eritrea formally announcing the country's withdrawal from the regional bloc. Eritrea rejoined IGAD in June 2023 after nearly 2 decades of self-suspension and was welcomed back unanimously by all member states. Despite its return, Eritrea has not taken part in any IGAD meetings, programs or activities of the past 2 years. IGAD says Eritrea offered no concrete proposals or engagement on reforms before announcing its intention to leave. The Secretariat is urging Eritrea to reconsider its decision and remains open to dialogue through established channels. IGAD reaffirms its commitment to peace, stability and regional cooperation across the Horn of Africa despite the latest setback. Right, and it's time for sports. And now, Emmanuel?
Yes, we have a bit of the Kenya Premier League and motorsports coming up after the break. Just a few minutes, so stay tuned. Leaders Kakamega Homeboys and Gor Mahia held as 4 teams tie at the top of the Kenya Premier League. That and more after the break. I'm Emmanuel Ndongo. Let's get into the sports news now. The race for the Kenya Premier League title took a new twist today, with 4 teams now tied at the top with 20 points, only separated by goal difference. The Kakamega Homeboys were seconds away from making the top spot, but Shabana equalised at the death for a 2-2 draw in Kakamega. In Mombasa, record 21 times champions Gor Mahia let a 1-0 lead at half-time slip as they drew 1-1 against Bandari FC. Ebenezer Adu Kwao gave Gor Mahia the lead after 31 minutes, a lead that was levelled in the 57th minute. Gor Mahia led the table on goal difference, followed by Kakamega Homeboys, Kenya Police and Poster Rangers, all on 20 points. Kenya Police will go top of the table if they pick a point against AFC Leopards, while AFC Leopards will join the top 4 teams on 20 points if they win. Onto motorsports, Baldev Chaga continues to lead the overall standings in the East African Safari Classic Rally as the event heads to a close on Saturday. His lead at the top has been cut from 12 minutes to 4 minutes and 58.5 seconds. The battle for the overall title is on a knife's edge as anyone in the top 10 has a chance to win. But all eyes will be on the leader Chaga and his closest challenger Harry Hunt, who has been flying through the last 6 stages on Thursday and Friday. Friday's grueling race took the drivers through the CS16 stage from Isimeti to Simba in Kajiado County, followed by the CS17 stage from Ndi to Mactau, and finally the CS18 stage from Lumo to Kudu Hill. Saturday's final stages are the 109-kilometre Mariwenyi to Makinon Road, followed by 76 kilometres of Kushasha, and the final test from Vigurungani to Mwachanda, a 71.46-kilometre stretch. The first car is expected to arrive at the finish ramp in Diani at around 2:30 p.m.
The last stage, I think we just took it sensibly. Yeah, it was very tricky, didn't want to miss any junctions, so took extra care not to miss any of those, and thankfully, yeah, we got to the end. Yeah, it's been a long, difficult day today.
Pressure mounts as the week goes on, just to finish, because you come this far, so every day you're like just got to finish the next day just to get one day closer to the finish. So yeah, it's good.
Moving on, the second edition of the ASK Basketball Cup kicked off on Friday at the USIU Basketball Court, bringing together 16 teams from across the country. The six-day championship will culminate in the finals at the Kasarani Indoor Arena, where winners will be feted. Our reporter James Opondo Japicha reports.
Maldonites, a team from the Kakuma refugees camp, let a massive 21 points advantage slip away, allowing Originals to stage a comeback to beat them 71-66. Originals won the first quarter 18-12 before Maldonites took the second quarter 28-11. The third quarter was a tense one, with Maldonites winning 22-12. Originals were ruthless in the last quarter, where they hammered Maldonites 30-4.
The game was tight. Ilikuwa ngumu. We are down 31 points, but I kept encouraging my boys that in basketball, until the final whistle, we fight down from 31 points. We managed the opponent to manage to score only 4 baskets, and we score like 40 points, and we won the game. So I encourage my boys, you have to fight, you have to go, we missed a lot of free throws today, like 21 free throws, and we were down 31 at third quarter, and we came and went back.
In Court B, Warriors got the better of Junibin Basketball Academy, beating them 57-46 to win the first game of the preliminaries. Hope Warriors were the better team in the first half, winning first 2 quarters 14-8 and 27-13. The third quarter ended 10-10 before Junibin took the fourth quarter 15-6.
We came ready for it. We were expecting the win. The other team also, they came fighting, but we were the better team today. Actually, today they followed all the instructions to the letter. They followed all the instructions, and that's what I liked about them today. They were okay. Everything was perfect. Everything ran for us smooth today. No worries.
In other results, Jammus registered a 55-50 win against Elite Drive as Junibin Nation lost to Longhorn 60-61. ASK Foundation, who organized the tournament, aimed to give young people from South Sudan and Kenya an opportunity to showcase their basketball talent.
Ask in Sports is an initiative by Her Excellency, the Honorable Adud Salva Kiir Mayardit, who is the senior presidential envoy for special programs in South Sudan. And this is a brainchild that she came up with because there was a need, there was a gap that that she felt was left that needs to be filled in terms of sports and all that.
All the preliminary games will be held at the USIU basketball courts before moving the quarterfinals and the semifinals to the Nyayo National Stadium. The finals will be played at the Kasarani Indoor Gymnasium on the 18th of December. James Opondo for Citizen Sports.
Let's finish off now. Bandari Youth clinched the third position in the Rashid Abdallah Super Cup after edging out Nasty Milan 4-1 in post-match penalties at the Kwale Stadium in Kwale County. Milan drew first blood after Saeed Mwajasho found the back of the net in the 6th minute. Bandari stepped up the pressure and found the equaliser through a penalty converted by Erisat Orute. Bandari Youth collected the 750,000 shillings in prize money. Let's have a look.
Haikuwa rahisi. Mungu alipanga majibu yake, tukafunga semi-finals na pia mfunga tatu pia ilikuwa na penalty. Namshukuru Mungu sana nimeshika penalty 2. Hivyo tunaweza kusema tu ala ndio mpaji kila kitu.
Timu zimeonyesha weledi, vijana wameonyesha kwamba wana mazoezi, uwezo wanao, wanahitaji tu support na watafika mbali zaidi. Ni kusubiri tuangalie Jumapili itakuwaje kati ya Azam United kutoka Shimoni dhidi ya Lazium kutoka Matuga sehemu za Kigato. Tuangalie ni nani ambaye ataweza kuchukua shilingi 250,000. Watu wote tukutane Kwale Stadium. Shabiki anasubiriwa na shabiki. Shabiki amejipanga, anachotaka ni shabiki afike, afurahie na ajue nini maana ya shabiki unapokuwa na shabiki.
And that's all for the sports. My name is Emmanuel Ndungu. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on this Jamhuri Day.
Right, and many thanks indeed for watching. My name is Lillian Muli, and we were with Liz Odhiambo tonight, our sign language interpreter. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Up next is 10/10. Good night.
Good night.